Another thing I want to say as well that does not help as well. Movies are no longer staying in the cinemas as long as they used to, because now I have to go to streaming or DVD or things. So has that kind of killed
I think that's like. So I think that's a case of a safety net, because I think people in Hollywood and outside of Hollywood for too long have this warped perception of if a movie doesn't hit a certain target, it's a quote unquote flop.
Yeah.
Let's pull it immediately because we're not going to recoup. Let's find the money in a different avenue. Because I really do think, unfortunately, to the industry and to them themselves, the MCU has warped people's ideas of thinking a billion is an easy target to hit, and that is the way to go. Where it's like, no, only certain people can and are going to hit those targets. So that's why I think
film hasn't made like 100k or 100k in its first weekend, all of a sudden the film is a flop, and that even then leads to people's perception on how they review the film.
Because they're reviewing on financials. It's kind of like what messed up like music.
That's what I was about to say. Is rap music all over again, because
you didn't sell 100k in the first week.
First week sales.
So you must be bad.
And also another thing as well. People kind of forget as well. There's been a lot of classic movies that didn't necessarily do well in the box office
at all.
But people are making films so they're successful now, not that the film is going to be a success or a cult classic in 10 years' time or 20 years' time.
Of course, but I'm just saying, like, but now the people making films, cool. I have to make this film, but this film has to meet these certain criteria. What works in the box office? Not necessarily what is a good movie or what a good story or a compelling story.
That's why people are. A lot of filmmakers, in a sense, are doing films for Netflix or for Disney Plus or Apple TV. So that just goes straight to streaming. So that way, then it's not a case of like,
there's less pressure.
We've lost money. We're gonna make the money that we put into the film anyway. We're not worrying too tough about profit. That's not really our problem.
Then it becomes a lazy process, though. Then we get lazy writing, lazy stories.
Not necessarily.
If for example, if I'm like, okay, I know, for example, say you want to pitch a movie, right? And you got to follow this formally to get that movie greenlit. That's lazy, because you have to follow this specific box.
Are you talking about what he was talking about in terms of for Netflix, or are you talking
I'm talking about even Netflix to buy a movie off you, right? They will probably have like, you got to meet these certain criteria. So if you have to stay in this box, that's lazy, because the only thing that gets stuff in this box.
In that sense,
So it's more about people not being able to take the risk of greenlighting a certain project. Okay. Yeah, no, I see that.
Because if obviously people want to make money off, like, so, for example, even like Squid Games, right? It took him about 20 plus years of his life before he finally got greenlit. It was something different. But like, there's probably people that are spending decades with ideas that are getting, taken away. But because no one take that risk, for example, Squid Games, that changed the culture of everything, right?
Because the funding to South Korean industry got upped after that. Because now you see way more people invested into watching K-dramas.
Do you think the success of Squid Game and obviously its connection to Korean TV and the rise of like Korean stars in Western media allowed for the success of Parasite?
No, Parasite came out way before Squid Game.
Did it?
Yeah. Parasite came out in like 2018.
I feel like it came out before.
Yeah, it came out before Squid Game.
No, Squid Game came out before Parasite.
No, Parasite came out. Squid Game came out in like 2021. Parasite came out like 2018.
Okay, I got confused. Okay, reverse that then. Do you think the success of Parasite?
Yes, Parasite is the one that was the trailblazer. That was like, even he didn't allude to it, but even what's his name? Bong Joon-ho. He said in his acceptance speech, like,
there's so many great
people
movies.
Just had the bravery to be able to like read subtitles.
Yeah.
And I think more people, after the success of Parasite, was like, oh, let me take a gander of what are they doing over there, and then slowly and surely more people started to watch South Korean dramas and movies, and like, and so I guess that might have been a big reason why Squid Game even got picked up. Because and since Squid Game, you see more K-dramas everywhere, not just on Netflix, on Prime too.
Because the thing is, they've always been there, but they're getting more of a...
They're going to push more
recognition, more push.
To like your front page type thing, I've definitely seen that.
And also another thing as well, I'm kind of not becoming a fan of like rehashing already existing IPs. Like, for example, we get Men in Black, we get new characters, we even get like Monsters at University. A lot of it just falling flat for me as well, especially because even like the Matrix,
Shrek 5,
But I think
even like Matrix Resurrections, I'm like, bruh, come on.
I think sometimes a spin-off can work better than a sequel though. So when you said Monsters University, that wasn't necessarily a sequel to but that I think that worked in what they were trying to do. But
you have less pressure to feel like you have to succeed the first in the main line.
All you have to do is put certain things that are a bit familiar from the first one to make that success. But
and you're just breadcrumbing to an audience like, okay, this is nice. It's not the mainline entry, but maybe I was enamored by the world that you gave me in the mainline entries that I'll watch the spin-off, and I don't have the pressure. You don't have the pressure of trying to fulfill expectations.
Compared to the sequel.
Whereas if it's just a term of, all right, you've taken exorbitant time to release a sequel, that's where problems arise, because then you have people like, this shouldn't have been made. Oh, this wasn't as good.
What would you say? When was the last movie like a last original movie they thought, this is something different?
The last original movie
that you thought.
The Dune entries.
Literally, I was about to say the exact same thing.
The Substance.
What's the last thing I saw? I don't know.
Ooh. See?
I can't remember.
Somebody said this is something fresh, this is something new, this is something,
Conclave.
different.
I'm thinking quite recent. Conclave is up there.
You went to watch Conclave?
I really enjoyed that, bro.
I can't
it was messy.
Yeah. What is Conclave? What's the
By the popes and whatnot.
Yeah, the Pope. They have to pick
okay.
the Pope.
With Russell Crowe.
Yeah, no,
that's Exorcist. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that was shit. That was shit. No,
sorry, bro. Now I haven't kept up with movies in a while, so I'm a terrible person. But I am today probably gonna go watch Mickey 17.
That is good.
You're like one of the few people saying this.
It's long. Yeah. It is long.
How long are we talking?
It's about 2 hours.
Okay, that's not too bad.
But it drags the paces.
It drags. Okay.
As a sci-fi, I think it's a sci-fi dark comedy, but it's classed as a sci-fi comedy. But it works for what I know. Obviously, there's because the guy who directed is the guy who did Parasite.
Yeah.
There's definitely elements of like Korean cinema in there.
Yeah.
That if you watch Korean cinema, you can tell.
You can put up a trope.
I know that trope.
Like it's weird. Yeah. Like it's weird funny. Like and it could be weird serious, but they try to go down the comedy route. It's a good film. It's definitely entertaining. It's definitely worth watching.
You're one of the handful of people saying this, because most people are going in it saying, oh, it's going to flop and it's a letdown.
That is gonna flop.
Yeah, because people are already looking at the numbers it's doing so far.
They're tracking,
And people have come out. Most people I see are saying, I didn't enjoy it. But I feel like most people are corrupted their minds to like, oh, he made Parasite, so it's gonna be something on that level.
Yeah,
and
so that is true. A lot of people, when I watched it, was talking about, I didn't really take anything away from the film. There's no kind of like social commentary.
Yeah. So it's an unfortunate position to be in as that director, because Jordan Peele is currently in that position. People shitted on Nope.
Yeah, because
they thought it's not Get Out, and it's not like.
And also,
again, there's no social commentary.
Yeah. Whereas, like, bro, I just made a movie. There is some social commentary, but it's not the way you expected it.
Yeah.
And so people went into that movie, came out of that movie saying,
I don't get it.
What's he doing?
But I think again, it's one of the things where, like, if you maybe have to rewatch the film to see the social commentary you're looking for, could be there. You just have to rewatch the film to see it. But if at first watch,
you might not get it the first time.
Yeah, you might not. But the film is good enough.
Do you guys feel like the rise of superhero movies has kind of like downplayed cinema as well? Like what
it's unfortunately, I do think it has unfortunately had a negative effect on the market, because, like I said, I feel like it's the reason why people look at box office numbers way more so than they used to.
Yeah.
And also use that to beat other films over the head with, like, oh, you only made how much first week? Oh, you made how much this month? Oh, you must not be a good movie. And if there's not universal acclaim around the movie, they're like, I'm not even going to bother with that movie. And I feel like a lot of that came with the success, unfortunately, of the MCU, because they were trailblazers in what they did.